And we are live. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another exciting episode of Los Lobos de la Lucha, your CMLL review show here on BC WrestlePod. I'm so happy to be back. We took a little bit of a hiatus last week due to a lot of us doing different things, but myself and Papa Oso himself, Will, are back at it again to deliver the excellence that was CMLL this past week. So, unfortunately, we are missing our third compatriot, Mr. El Buntador II himself. Adolfo cannot talk. His voice is shot. So he sends his regards and we send him our love and the good vibes, as you know, he hope in a speedy recovery to get better so he could come back next week to take us through some fun CMLL action. So before we get into this past week's Viernes Espectacular, just to kind of go over a little bit of stuff. If you're new here, hi, welcome to the world that is BC WrestlePod. We review pretty much anything and everything we can get our hands on, from the major federations like WWE, AEW, to the smaller ones like NXT, TNA, CMLL, and everything in between. GCW, MLW, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling is about to be coming back in 2025. So, the Canadian squad of me and Will be covering the MLP events. We got a lot going on. So if you enjoy all that, make sure to follow us on the socials to stay up to date. We have a Facebook, a Twitter, well, not a Twitter, a Facebook, an Instagram, a Threads, a Blue Sky. We have merchandise. It is fantastic. Stay tuned this Friday for the newest collection called Feminized Dick Tracy's in honor of Naomi and Bianca Belair of WWE. Oh, it's going to be a beautiful thing. But let us get into it. So we are going to be covering this Viernes Espectacular from St. Valentine's Day, Friday, February 14th, also known as Single Awareness Day. As those of us not in a relationship, I was single as a Pringle on Friday. So what better way to spend my Valentine's than to watch lots of sweaty men wrestle? I mean, we're literally called BC WrestlePod. Get with it. So the fun thing that I also learned too, as I was telling my co-host Will before we started, is that this was also previewing and getting ready for the tour that CMLL was about to do with New Japan this upcoming week in Japan, which is crazy. So I'm like, they had a miniature Fantastica Mania tour, and I'm excited. Hopefully, we get an announcement of when the next Fantastica Mania is for New Japan and CMLL. So excited, cannot wait. But let us get into Viernes Espectacular from Friday, February 14th. And we kick things off with one of two Relampago matches. So this Relampago match sees one of our favorites, the zesty grandpa himself, Okamura, who is also one half of the MLW Tag Team Champions, once again with his tag team partner Kojima. And they form the tag team known as Cozy Max, taking on Raider, who has been a couple weeks since we've seen this man and his money guns appear and do all sorts of things as well. So again, Adolfo's not here, so I'm going to do my best to do the Lucha Libre 101 stuff. So if you are not familiar and this is your first time watching CMLL and you're like, Mikey, what is a Relampago match? Well, figment of my own imagination. I'm glad you asked. So, a Relampago match is basically a specialty type of match in CMLL in which that there is a 10-minute time limit. And the way that the match ends is through a few ways. Either we submit, we pin, or we literally have, or DQ, or we have the time run out to 10, in which then it is declared a draw. So that is what a Relampago match is, and that is what opened it up. Listen, I say this all the time. Anytime we get Okamura on our screens for CMLL, like, I continue to be impressed with him and how well he can wrestle and mix that Japanese style of wrestling with lucha libre, especially at this man's age. Also, Raider being able to, show up Okamura and also work with him was fantastic. Since this is a Lampago match, we only need one fall, and it is, of course, Raider does end up pinning Okamura for the win. So Raider defeats Okamura, but I thought this was a fantastic opening match, and I never get tired of seeing Okamura on my screen. I'm biased. Sue me. Will, I come to you. What did you think of our first match to open up the night?
I always
Will's
get
ready to go.
excited. I always get excited when Okamura is fighting because I freaking love him, and I love that he opened the event up, and of course Razor as well. I do like him as well. I was telling Mikey before we started, I was like, this was a whole evening of some of my favorite wrestlers in CMLL. I was like, oh my god! So this was great, and I agree with you. It Okamura never ceases to amaze me. Never ceases to amaze me. He, man, if I did half the stuff he did, I would be in like a hospital. I mean, seriously. I mean, he's older than I am. I mean, I'm 53, and I know he's older than me. So, and I'm just like, and he is doing like, man, I couldn't even. My bones hurt just watching him sometimes. But he amazes me. I mean, truly, truly amazes the heck out of me when he wrestles, especially when he wrestles like someone younger than him. You know, he keeps up. I mean, we've seen it several times where he has wrestled people that were like way younger than him, and he keeps up. Sometimes even surpasses them. So, and I don't know if that's the Japanese style training or what, but man, he is a force. He is a force, and I love watching him just swoop in and destroy. I love it.
I agree with you there, Will. Like I said before, Okamura always continues to impress me, and unfortunately, he was not triumphant this round. But I also got to give credit to Raider for being able to put on a good show with Okamura, and this was a fun way to open up the show. And immediately, they're just like, "Oh, y'all like the opening match? Okay, let's just give you some craziness." Because this match right here, our second match of the evening, was a tag team you know, was a tag team match here, which saw Zalua and Stigma taking on Magnus and Rugido. So also shout out to these four boys because it's been a hot minute since we've seen them. I'm gonna say this for every match, and it's gonna sound redundant, but I was like, this match, as the kids say, was a banger.
Yeah, it was. I'm going to say the same thing for every match tonight. It's like they were all freaking amazing. It was all good. It was like, you know, and again, yeah, these guys I haven't seen. I mean, Magnus, I've probably seen him the most recent, I think.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I think he was on either last week or the week
A couple
before.
of weeks ago, maybe, I think. But the others, well, yeah, I mean, Stigma, I can't remember the last time I saw Stigma. Maybe it could have been, well, maybe it was him and Magnus we saw a couple of weeks ago. But I know Rugido and the Zehua, I know we have not seen them in a hot minute.
That is
So,
very true.
so it was exciting to see them all. And I just love Rugido's mask. I absolutely love it. The cat. I just love that. It's just
I love it
fur.
so much, and of course the little detail with like the fur, like the mane of like
Mhm.
jungle cat of some sort is fantastic. But again, this was another fantastic bout here. Of course, this was a 2 out of 3 falls match. So, in order to get the win, you would have to pin or submit your opponent twice. And the way that you can go about doing that is either pinning, well, in this case you pin one or both, but it was still fantastic. I love this. This is a great match. Of course, it was a good back and forth, but when the dust settled and everything happened, you know, it would be Magnus and Rugido that ultimately picked up the winner, or the win over Zalua and Stigma. But man, did these four work very well, and Zalua and Stigma definitely made our tag team of Magnus and Rugido work for that victory. So I love this match. Again, I'm going to say this again and again for all the matches
Yep.
because I loved every single one. They did a good job of not only bringing what CMLL does every week, but also be like, hey, you know what, Japan, you might see some of these people on this tour we're about to do. So fantastic. We love to see it. And then it just got crazier. I bow to these two. Second Relampago match of the evening. Holy crap. My goodness. We had so Neon. We had Neon versus Max Star in a Relampago match. Just from the bell, like it was nonstop, all foot on the gas, going 200 miles per hour. I could not breathe during this match.
Oh my God, no. I
And
agree with you.
we've seen these two lock up before. They know each other so well, and that's why they could do. We're far enough in. That's why they can do the crazy shit that they have
I
do
agree.
before.
Man, this match, these two, talk about crazy shit. I mean, I love them individually as when they're fighting other people, but man, when they're fighting each other, this was like crazy, crazy. As they said in the old days, cray cray. But I loved it. It just kept getting better. And we haven't seen these two guys in a little while either. It's been a little bit of a hot minute.
It definitely has. I feel like since they've because these two are part of the trios, and since they lost the trios championship, we haven't really at least on Viernes Espectacular, we haven't seen them. I think they've been popping up on the Sábado and the Guadalajara shows from time to time, but it's nice that these two are back on the Friday night show, and it is a Relampago match. So again, all gas, no break. Like we got to do the damn thing.
And I really
For
like
sure.
Neon as a wrestler. I really like Neon. And I hate that we haven't seen more of him.
I love
You
it.
know,
Ooh, really quickly though, Mr. Raul, buenas noches, hermano. Saludos, saludos. So I completely forgot about this because we are getting lots of international this week because, you know, outside of CMLL, we are also getting some crossover with some other promotions. Yep, exactly as Raul says, the New Japan and CMLL doing their tour, but we're getting some CMLL talent heading to AEW this week for some of their shows.
really.
So I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. And some of the AEW luchadores might be popping into CML like Commander, Hologram. Be so fantastic. But back to this match. Look, these two killed it. Ultimately, Neon does pick up the victory.
No.
Run it back again, please.
I just noticed that Max Star has like
His
star
contacts are crazy, Will. I didn't notice this until I was putting the slides together. I'm like, holy crap, I
I literally
forgot
just
about
saw
those.
that. I was like, "Ooh, I like Neon's eyes," and I looked over and went, "What the hell? Those are actual stars." It's crazy.
It's so good. I love it. So again, Neon picks up the victory here. Running back CMLL. We're good.
Whoop, whoop.
Oh my god, this match slapped.
Holy crap, monkeys! This was
So,
like,
look,
oh,
so I can't believe I'm saying this and we're only in February. I think Zantokin Jr. might make my one of my top 3 favorite CMLL men's wrestlers right now. He is getting so much love and showing it is fantastic.
I agree. Zendokan, yeah, he was great. Oh wow. Every time I see him, and we've been seeing a lot more of him lately, which is great because I really like him as a wrestler.
I really do too. So, of course, to set this all up, this is a 2 out of 3 falls tag team match. in which we see our team of Los Rudos, Soberano Jr. and Zandokin Jr. So Team Junior over here. Look, I'm never gonna complain when we see Soberano Jr. on the card. Like, he is just so good. His mask setup was kind of crazy too, because it was very abstract red with hints of pink. I'm like, you are terrifying.
Yep.
I am also slightly turned on. I am conflicted about my feelings. I'm like, don't hurt me, but step on me. What?
Don't hurt me harder.
Yes. But then, of course, we cannot compete with the manliest of manly men, Máscara Dorada, and Will's baby daddy, Templario.
Oh my gosh. My oh, I just got a little moist. Sorry.
Hey, it's okay. Listen, BC WrestlePod, we don't judge. We listen and we don't judge. No, but I mean, come on now, Templario. I'm like, pass him out, save me. I'm the damsel in distress.
Hell yeah. I need mouth to mouth, my man.
Bring me back to life.
Oof, Jesus.
But
every time he comes out, every single time I see him come out of the back, I literally get like flush.
you turned like, the darkest shade of pink and red.
It's like, oh, man, what the heck, dude? And it's, yes, the man is gorgeous, by the way, but he exudes this sort of idea of what a man is, and that just excites me. I mean, he just exudes it. It's just like, I would love to see him in person, like watch him wrestle in person. But there's just something about him. It's just, he walks out and immediately, like, every man in the room just sort of, bows down to him. I mean, it's like, and the women throw themselves at him. Maybe a couple of the men do too, but it's crazy. I don't even understand it myself, because I'm one of those guys. It's literally every time he walks out, I'm just like, oh, hello. I turned into a little girl. It's like, oh, sorry, I had to get that out in the air, but it's like,
hey, you know what? Again, we listen and we don't judge. But no, when you combine the machismo-ness of Templario, his athletic ability is also still really phenomenal to watch too.
God, he's amazing to watch.
These four had such great chemistry in the ring for this episode. Of course, Templario, Máscara Dorada, no stranger to working together. And of course, Soberano Jr. and Zandokin Jr. playing the Rudo roles so well. We were going into the third fall, we were tied 1-1 apiece, but ultimately it would be the Técnico team of Templario and Máscara Dorada who would pick up the victory over Soberano Jr. and Zandokin Jr. Like, I have no notes. Like, seriously.
I don't either. It was amazing. This was such a good match. It was so good. Oh, God, it was so good. It was a powerhouse. This was like a powerhouse match. It was just like hit hard, hit good. It's just like, wow. It was so good.
I want to give props to Soberano Jr. because ever since we started covering CMLL, like, no matter who he ends up in the ring against, he finds a way to complement his, wrestling with whoever he's, going up against. And this was no exception. I'm just like, more Soberano Jr. on my screen in 2025, please. Also, Zandokin Jr., you sexy, sexy pirate man. Listen, the whole faction of the Phantom Galleon, as they are known, with him and Barbosa and them, I'm like, I watch Pirates of the Caribbean. I know where this is going. But man, Soberano Jr. is just so amazing. And he is able to complement with the people he's working with and the people he's going up against. I think my favorite part of this match, I believe it was Máscara Dorada, who literally did a top rope Spanish fly onto Soberano Jr. on the outside, onto bury the barricade. And I'm just like, okay, everyone's okay. That was sick.
Yep. That was
it
yep.
was a wild roller coaster. I got worried and then I got excited off my rocker.
Yep. It was
Huh.
oh, so good.
So all is right in the world. Templario Mascara win. Yay, yay, Técnicos. Because it's been a hot minute because it seems like every other week most of the Rudos end up winning here. So it was nice to see our Técnicos. And yeah, so this was a fantastic match. But so is this one. Oh my gosh. It's only February. I think Echiseto might be at the top of my list here. Like favorite male wrestlers 2025. Echiseto to me has not had a bad match since we were introduced to him. Like there's nothing he has done where it's a bad match. And then he goes one-on-one with Ultimo Guerrero in this match, who is also Listen, these three brought the house down. This is so freaking good. I don't know where to start. Like, I really don't know where to start with this one.
You know, I love both of these guys, because we usually see them fighting in a trio or that something. So when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I wonder who's wrestling. I wonder who's fighting. And they said Guerrero and Hechicero, and I thought, oh, more people are going to come out, but it was like just them, Ultima Guerrero and Hechicero, and I was just like, I'm sorry, what? What is about to happen? Because these are two men that I enjoy watching annihilate people. And now you're going to put them in a ring together and see what happens? I mean, that's like putting fire and gasoline in the ring and see what happens. Holy goodness. It was so good. I watched this one twice because one, I love Hechicero. I think Hechicero is amazing. And I love Ultimo Guerrero, but I absolutely love Hechicero. I love him so much. Ever since him and the demasking uh
With
sorry,
Euphoria
yeah,
and Valiente
Euphoria.
and
Thank you.
Skinhead,
My
like
brain
that
was
match still rules.
oh, it does still. And ever since then, I have loved him. And every time he fights, I'm just like, he is such a great bad guy. I don't care if you're gonna like put him in a technical role. He will always be a bad guy to me, and I love that because he gets in the ring and it is like I am here for one reason, and that is to annihilate you. I mean, truly, because he's the one that well, both of them actually, which was what's so great about it. They don't even wait; they're just like in and going.
For reals. They both get into the ring and they're like, oh, it's on site.
I know. They're like, hey, and bam, bam, bam. It's like, I don't even.
Shout out to our favorite referee, Nora Greco, for trying to keep up with these two. It's like you get a pinfall, and there were so many close counts in this one. I'm just like, and this went on for quite some time too. I was like, this was like 15 minutes. I'm like, this match rules. Just let them fight forever. Just let them. Like, I'm okay with this. But ultimately, the Alchemist of CMLL, Hechicero, does pick up the victory here.
Yep.
I love the main event, don't get me wrong, but upon a second watch through, I think this is probably my favorite match of this episode of CMLL.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yep. Like, I would definitely show our other non-CMLL hosts here this match and the Mascara Quadrangular, the four-way match from the anniversary show. Be like, y'all want to know what CMLL is about? Here are these two matches. Do your homework and then come back to me. I will prescribe you some more.
Yeah.
Also,
I agree.
For me personally, Stephanie Vaquer versus La Catalina too. And like the first episode that we watched of CMLL, Fantastica Mania, those two killed each other. I'm like, yes,
which was beautiful.
Such a good match.
So beautiful. It was funny because the Templario match was actually my favorite match of the night until this one came along.
Same. I was like, yo,
Yep.
I was
This
like, I
one.
don't care if I was drooling on the floor because that man is fine.
Yep.
But that match was great.
This one was so good.
Oh my gosh. I want them to fight again. Just fight forever. Like, I'm
Yes.
okay with it. Just let them fight forever, you guys, because this was great. But I will say, though, the main event definitely was a fun one because we do
Yeah.
get into the main
Yeah.
event of this Viernes Espectacular. And honestly, this kind of puts some of my, like, if you're thinking of like top stars, this is probably six of my favorite folks here. So on the Technico side, you have, of course, one of my personal favorites, Titan. So Titan teaming up with Atlantis Jr. And of course, La Rey de Plata y Oro, Místico, taking on the team of, does he still have a hairline? I don't know, but it's still kind of cool. Volador Jr. We have the oldest badass in the room, Averno, who continues to be impressive. And personally, one of my new favorites is Mr. Barbaro Cavenario. Watching him in CMLL and also his that 2 out of 3 falls match with Mystico at the MLW show. Like, oh, so good. This match was wild because I feel like we spent like 90% of this match in the air and maybe 10% on the ground. There were bodies flying off the ropes, off the barricades, off the stairs at one
I
point.
know.
Like the Rurudos tried to leave the match, and then the technicals are like, you ain't gonna do this. They fight on the ramp to push them back into the ring. Like, this was a wild
It
match.
was
I was like,
crazy.
oh my gosh, I don't even know where to look. It's like a controlled chaos, and I was here for it.
This was the fun match of the night. Like this match was just fun. It was it was chaos, it was crazy, it was this, that, and the other, but it was just fun. Because there, yeah, like when the Rudos are trying to get the heck out of Dodge, the Technicals are like, no, I don't think so. It's like, and they literally went up the ramp after them, fought, and then like herded them back to the ring. And oh my gosh, and they were over, under, through, around, the everywhere in that ring. It was like, what is happening right now? It was so much. It was hard to keep up at times. I was like, wait, what now? Wait, what happened over here? What happened over here? Because it wasn't just like in ring stuff. There was stuff happening outside the ring, up on the ramp. I mean, it was everywhere. It was so chaotic. God, it was so good though.
It really, really was. Of course, once again, we went into the third fall, one fall apiece, but ultimately it would be Místico, Atlantis Jr., and Titan to pick up the victory. But I agree with you, Will. Whereas Hechicero and Ultimo Guerrero was probably my favorite match of the whole entire episode, this was just pure fun. And I felt
Mm-hmm.
like I was 8 again watching this
Mm-hmm.
match. It reminded me of when I was little, just playing with my action figures and making them do crazy stuff. This match was the in real life version of me watching my action figures just fly all over the place.
That's funny because this match, the energy and this kind of what was happening here, see, this reminds me of like old school wrestling. Even though this was like obviously a different style, but the feel of it was like old school wrestling. It was like, and I loved it. It literally, it made me, it reminded me of like when I would go to him with my dad. And I was like, this is the energy that kind, because it was fun and insane and funny at times, and it had everything in it. It wasn't a specialized match. It was literally a free for all almost, and I thought it was great. It was super fun. It was just fun to watch. You know, yeah, and I just now that Mystico is sort of like beltless, I guess, or whatever. He seems like a whole new person, and it's so fun to watch him. And of course, Valador Jr. Now that he's become this sort of like you know heel or rudo type person, it's been fun watching him. His whole evolution has been super fun, and I do love Barbaro Cavanario. Oh my gosh, how fun! just the whole caveman thing just cracks me up. And then of course there's Atlantis Jr. with his fish mask, which I just cracks me up every time I see it.
I love so much.
And Teton, I don't think we see enough of Teton, to be honest.
He's so good. Like
Mm-hmm.
when he was competing to win the Torneo de Plata, like at the anniversary show, it's like, oh, this is gonna be a good, so good. I think he's fantastic. I love this.
Mm-hmm.
So again, of course, Místico, Atlantis Jr., Titan do pick up the victory here. And that is how we end this Viernes Espectacular. So before I get into our preview for this Friday's episode of Viernes Espectacular, I do have a little bit of news to share. So as mentioned at the top of this show, CMLL does a pretty good job of working with lots of other companies. We've seen them team up with New Japan for Fantastica Mania. We have seen them go to AEW, but CMLL stars also show up at MLW shows. So Místico has defended his MLW middle heavyweight championship there a couple of times. We've seen a few of our CMLL folks participate in these matches themselves. But I would like to talk about three pieces of news because MLW's next big event, well, I say big event. So in March, they're going to have one of their smaller shows called Intimidation Games, which is the final show before the big one in April, which is Battle Riot 7. So Battle Riot is basically what it is. It is 40 people in the ring throwing each other over the top rope. Winner gets a championship match. But this year's Battle Riot is going to be a little different because Matt Riddle is putting his MLW World Championship on the line in the match. So if Matt Riddle gets thrown over the top, he is no longer a champion. It's crazy. But I bring up MLW Battle Riot because we have two of our CMLL talents entering the Battle Riot Battle Royale. And so the first one that was announced was Barbaro Cavenario is entering the Battle Riot. So that has me excited. But then we also got announced earlier in the week that Hechicero will also be an entrant in the Battle Riot. So me and Adolfo may be trying to coax Will to watch a Battle Riot with us in April. So it's going to be on Saturday in the evening. It's going to be fantastic. But Will, I have some really, really fun news. And I think this is how we're going to get you to join the live watch along. So back at the last MLW show, Super Fight 6, there was a tag team match between a couple of our CMLL talents.
Okay.
Ultimately, it would be the team of Templario and Esfinge who would pick up the victory. Templario pinned Místico. But it gets juicier. So after the match, Templario and Místico cut a promo, and at Battle Riot, Místico will put his MLW World Middle Featherweight Championship on the line in a match against Templario. So it's Místico versus Templario for the MLW Middleweight Championship. The Middle Featherweight Championship. You need to come watch this with us.
When is that?
Okay, so Battle Riot for MLW, hopefully it works with your schedule, is going to be, I believe it is Saturday, March 5th. So, yeah, so it's in the evening. So, like 9 p.m. Central is usually when the start time is. It might be 8 p.m.
April 5th?
April 5th.
Okay. Okay, I'm not.
So it's getting me. Yeah, so if your schedule is not crazy, I feel like you have to watch this with us.
Okay.
But yeah, I was shocked watching Templario pin Místico, and then we're getting a championship match at Battle Riot between these two. I'm like, money!
Wow. Wow.
Will's like, I'm intrigued.
I am. I truly am.
So I'm excited. Me and Adolfo are gonna excited, and Will's excited. So hopefully, if everything works out, the stars align because it's still a long ways away. Hopefully, we can get Will to watch this MLW Battle Riot because the show is these shows are free on YouTube. So they air free. Nobody's got to pay nothing. You just go to MLW's YouTube channel and you can watch the show live for free. And they usually keep it up a week before it goes behind the paywall. But even still, love the idea. It's a lot of fun shows. It's crazy stuff. Well, there's a lot of fun wrestlers, I think, outside of our CMLL talent that Will would enjoy. But yeah, with Badaboro and Hechicero entering Battle Riot, and then Místico and Templario going to have a championship match there, is going to be great. But that is going to be it for the news. So finally, let's preview this Friday's episode of Viernes Espectacular. So Viernes. So we have some very fun stuff coming up here for this episode of Viernes Espectacular. So this Friday, we are opening up the episode with a 3-on-3 match that features Futuro, Valiente Jr., and Brillante Jr. taking on the team of Felino Jr., Hijo de Stuca Jr., and one of my personal favorites because of his mask, El Coyote, is back on my screen, and I am not upset about this. Then we get a Relampago match, which is going to see El Hijo del Villano the Third taking on the captain of the Fantasma Galleon in Barbosa. So one of the pirates is back on the screen, y'all. So I'm excited for that one. Then, even though it was missed this week, we get back to, and the world is right because we get some Amazona action. We will be seeing La Catalina team up with Princesa Sujit and Kira, and they are taking on the team of Reina Isis, Dark Silhouette, and one of my personal names to pronounce for any Amazona is Sanelli. So Sanelli's back on my screen. I'm so excited.
I love that.
Okay, so then this is where things get interesting because then we are getting the second match of the Torneo de Escuelas in this one. So as we mentioned, Adolfo mentioned back before, so the Torneo de Escuelas is the wrestling schools, Will, in Mexico are competing against each other in this kind of like elimination styles match, and it is a 5-on-5 match. So there's going to be 10 people. So the first match happened, I believe, on the Tuesday show this week, and we're getting the second round match on Viernes Espectacular. So this is Team Guadalajara. So the wrestling school in Guadalajara taking on the school in CDMX, so Central Mexico. And these are all new folks that I am very unfamiliar with, but I'm excited. So representing Team Guadalajara is Prince Drago, Shesmu, Abigor, Quebec, and Vrav. And representing Team CDMX, it's Fury Boy, Poseidon, Pendulo, Alexias, and Troyano. So these 10 men, I have no idea who they are, but I'm excited because I'm like, these are going to be the future luchadors coming into CMLL probably eventually. So that is a 5-on-5 match. That's going to take some time. Wow. But then we get into our main event of this episode for this upcoming Friday. It is Atlantis Senior teaming up with Esfinge and Star Jr. and taking on the team of Gran Guerrero, El Valiente, and our favorite zombie wrestler, Difunto.
Oh, wow.
So, of course, you know, a lot of our folks are in Japan for the next week and a half or so, but I'm excited for all these matches as I am, but I'm very, very interested because this is new and a first for me. I'm kind of really interested in this Torneo de Escuelas elimination 5-on-5. Like, I think that's probably the match I'm looking forward to the most because these are 10 new luchadors. I have no idea who they are, but they are representing their respective wrestling schools in Mexico. So I'm excited. I can't wait.
Oh, I know. That's exciting. I'm super excited for all of these. Like, I don't think there's one on there that I'm not like, oh, that's going to be amazing, or that's not going to be amazing.
Right? I mean, I think all the matches are going to be good, but the one that has piqued my interest is the second round Torneo de Escuelas
Right.
match.
Yeah, I'm
Because I'm
excited about
like,
that too.
I wish, listen, there's a lot of wrestling schools here in the United States. I wish they had something similar where it's like a Grand Prix of wrestling schools with students fighting each other. And essentially, this is what it is. These are wrestling schools of some of the CMLL talents being represented of the different areas of Mexico and just fighting it out. And I'm like, yes, give me school on school violence. I'm here for it. Fight, fight, fight. So I'm excited. We will be back next to Wednesday to review all this. So that does bring us to the end of this episode of Los Lobos de la Lucha. We are sad that we have to go, but fear not. We will be back next Wednesday to cover all the CMLL action, and hopefully the whole trio will be back in full effect. But that is going to wrap things up here. So make sure to tune in for everything else we got going on this week. Friday, myself and Will be coming back because every good trilogy needs a third and final act, because the two of us will be back on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central, 9:30 p.m. Central. Well, 7:30 Pacific, 9:30 Central to review this week's episode of TNA. It is getting crazy in TNA land. We just covered, as you saw in the NXT, TNA and NXT is crossing over. So we'll be interested to see who makes the jump to TNA next from NXT, and is great time. On Sunday, you can catch the WWE review as we not only talk about Raw and SmackDown, but we will be doing our predictions for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which is happening next Saturday. And then, of course, if you are free in the evening, come say hi to us as we have our second episode of the Biconics Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about who is good in the ring and who is good on the mic in our little Matrix style episode. So it's going to be fantastic. But for myself, Will, in spirit, Mr. El Buntador himself, Adolfo, and the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay biconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you Friday for our TNA review, but until then, sayonara, adios, and we'll catch you later.